Now this class is presented in voice and text, and there's going to be some visuals up on the texture board. You can left click on the Firestorm class notes and first aid kit. It's over on my left shoulder to get class notes for all of our classes, as well as a few other goodies. The class notes get updated semi-regularly, and the hover text on the box will tell you the date. Right now it's still May 11. If you're having trouble reading text from the note card reader, open Preferences, go to the Colors tab, and if you have it, the Chat Color sub-tab, and in there change the color for objects to something more legible for you. To adjust voice volumes, go to the COM menu and click on Nearby Voice to open the Nearby Voice panel. From there, adjust individual volumes by slider. Now, before we get started, I'd like everyone to have a look at the Help menu. There's a copy on the screen. We like to point out that all menus and submenus will detach and stay open if you click on those double lines at the very top of the menu. This makes it much simpler to check or uncheck options, as well as to remember and uncheck anything you happen to click on by mistake, or just to see what it does. I'm guilty of both. There's a few things we'd like to mention in the Help menu. The first being the Firestorm Wiki link, which most people can access simply by pressing F1. Some of you on a Mac or laptop, you might have to use function F1. The wiki has documentation on almost every preference and feature in the viewer, plus some pages about lag, cache, and basic troubleshooting. Second item in the Help menu is troubleshooting, and this prompts you to open the troubleshooting page on the wiki, and in there you can find suggestions for problems you may be experiencing. Third is About Firestorm. This opens the About Firestorm window, which shows your sysinfo as well as credits and licensing information. Team members, and I need to stress only team members, have the ability to ping your viewer for the sysinfo in an IM. Only a team member that your viewer recognizes can trigger this request, and if they do, you'll see it, kind of what it looks like up on the screen. Now this means that only a member of the Firestorm team can send the request and trigger the request, and your viewer has to have downloaded a small bit of data from us when it started, and that bit of data includes the list of all the Firestorm team members. Now, if you do get this request, please do choose yes, as the information may help us help you solve your problems. So welcome to the first mini class on Quick Preferences. Now, this is based on the 4.5.1 release, but it applies to 4.6.5 for the most part. Now, if you have questions about the topic we're on, please put them in nearby chat. Text is best during the class, and we'll answer as soon as we can. Please wait until after the class to ask any off-topic questions. We hold an open question and answer after all of our classes. And if you don't know if your question is off-topic, go ahead and ask it, and we'll figure it out. The Quick Preferences panel provides fast access to commonly or frequently used settings and is accessed by the button on the toolbar. Then it has the Firestorm logo. There's a couple of examples up on the screen. We're going to start with the panel layout, which should be the same for most skins, but not all. Not all skins have all the options that are shown by default, and the order may also be different. There's draw distance. You can use this to change your draw distance. This is also from Preferences, Graphics, General sub-tab. Max particles. This determines the total number of particles to render at a single moment. And that's also in Preferences, Graphics, General Subtab. Avatar Physics LOD. You want to set this to 1 to enable full support of avatar physics, or 0 to disable entirely. And that's also on Preferences, Graphics, General Subtab. LOD Factor. This controls the level of detail of prims. It's a multiplier for current screen area when calculated level of detail. The ideal setting is between 2.5 and 4. It's in Preferences, Graphics, General Subtab. And if you go into debugs, it's also Render Volume LOD Factor. Max avatars. This shows how many avatars to fully render on the screen. Lowering this value greatly improves your frame rate in crowded situations. This does require avatar imposters enabled. Both of those settings are on Preferences, Graphics, and General Subtab. Tags offset. This allows you to adjust the height of your name tag above your avatar. This is handy for non-human avatars, from tinies to really large dragons, so that the name isn't embedded in the avatar or floating way above. This is also set in Preferences, Colors, Name Tags subtab. Name Tags is a quick toggle to show or hide tags over avatars' heads, all avatars. And this is Preferences, General tab. This one is on and off. In the General tab, you can set them to show briefly. Look at target. This enables showing the look at crosshairs to indicate where people have positioned but are not aiming their camera. This is also set in Preferences, Privacy, Look at subtab. Color under cursor. If this is enabled, it shows the current color and alpha value under the cursor. These are displayed in white text in the lower right of your screen. It's also in the Develop menu under Show Info submenu. Now, the following controls cannot be moved nor removed. They are max bandwidth. You can set your bandwidth in kilobits per second. This is also set in Preferences, Network and Cache tab. Wind light sky. These are your wind light sky settings. Use the left and right arrows to quickly scroll through available presets. Wind light water. These are the wind light water settings, and you can use the left and right arrows to quickly scroll through available presets. Day cycle. This allows for a quick selection of a day cycle preset. Time of day. You can drag the slider back and forth to change the time of day, or the sun position. The X button will reset wind light sky, wind light water, and day cycle to the defaults. Are there any questions so far? And welcome to Paige and Laura. You got ice cream cones. That's the theme for today. No reset for the cursor color. You mean color under cursor? Okay. No, there's not really a reset. All it is an indicator. You can turn it on or turn it off, and it'll show whatever the color value is underneath the cursor wherever your cursor is pointing. We'll use that now and again for matching up a skin color to a prim color, for example. If you have it turned on, look down in the lower right-ish corner of the screen and you'll see 4 numbers. They're constantly changing as you move the cursor. And those are the red, green, blue, and alpha values. Cool. Okay. Oh, yeah. No, I don't think there's a way to change the color of the cursor. Not without going into the color files. And if you haven't done it yet, you might want to throw it out to Jira as a feature request to add that to maybe the colors tab. So is it possible to add or remove controls in QuickPrefs? Yes, it is, by clicking the wrench icon in the lower right corner next to the X. And you'll see that the Edit panel will overlay the lower portion of the QuickPrefs window. You can't edit those anyway. To add a new setting, click the little plus button, and a new blank control will be added to the QuickPrefs window. Now this one needs to be associated with a setting. You click Choose and a long drop-down list will appear. These are all the viewer debug settings that can be added. The list of Firestorm debug settings is available on our wiki as well, here with some descriptions. Now before we go any further, let's talk briefly about debug settings. For the most part, every setting you see in Preferences has a corresponding identifier that the viewer reads. They're called debug settings, and since they're designed for the viewer to use, they aren't really always human readable. Now, perhaps the biggest challenge you're going to face with customized QuickPrefs is finding the correct debug setting associated with the option you want to add. Of course, Jessica Lyon has made a video that shows you a great way of finding the right debug setting. Pencils ready? There it is. Oh, well, we'll get to that. Hang on. Now you can select the setting you wish to add. In the space to the left of the drop-down, give the setting a name that you will find meaningful for what it does. The type field is normally automatically filled in based on the type of the setting that it is. For some of the toggle settings, on or off, you can choose either a checkbox or radio buttons because they will do the same thing. For numeric settings, you can choose either a slider or a spinner, which has up and down arrows, or just a text box. Now, if the setting is numeric and it only accepts whole numbers, then click on the integer checkbox. For some settings, you can alter the minimum, maximum, and increment values, but don't change these unless you know exactly what they represent. For more settings, click the plus button again and repeat. Now, There are up and down arrows on the left of the plus button, and these will move that selected setting up or down in the list. And when you're done, you can click the X at the right of the control label field. So let's assume you want to edit some existing settings. That's just as easy. Click the wrench if needed, then click the name of the setting you want to edit. Click the setting itself up in the list. You can then change any part of that setting, including its list position, or you can make it completely different. And when you're done, click the X. Want to remove a setting? Fire, this is for you. Click the wrench if you need to. Click the trash can icon to the left of the setting itself. And when you're done, click the X. Now, if you've done like Ed and I have done all the time, set your settings so that they are completely borked. Well, click the wrench and then click the reset button at the bottom. This will reset QuickPrefs to its default layout. It's handy if you're me or Ed. And of course, when you're done, click the X. Once you've finished configuring QuickPrefs, we recommend that you relog right away to ensure your changes stick, because they're only saved when you log out. And you may also want to back up your settings. The reset button will reset QuickPrefs to its default layout, which I already said. So any questions on QuickPrefs? It can be very helpful. Okay. Let's start on the second scoop, shall we? Oh, maybe we'll wait for Flossie to say what she's got to say. No, not all debugs can be added. That's because some of them are triggers, perhaps. There are also some settings that can't be added because there is no debug, like wireframe. Wireframe is a change in the develop menu only. It doesn't have a debug equivalent. Kind of sad, but there you go. So we've delayed this long enough. Let's talk about lag. People always ask, what causes lag? And the short answer is everything. Another common question is, how do I get rid of lag? And the short answer is log out. Yeah. Now, those don't help much, do they? So that helps. So let's get to some not-so-short answers. What causes lag? Well, sorry to say, the answer still applies. Everything causes lag. However, it's a more of matter of how much lag is acceptable to you. As for what you can do to get rid of lag, that depends on what type of lag it is. So let's talk about the 3 different types of lag. You can use the lag meter found in the Avatar menu under Avatar Health submenu to identify which of these 3 is affecting you the most. There's more information, more detailed information on the statistics bar, which is accessed by pressing Shift-Control-1. So let's talk about network lag. Now, this is when you have connectivity issues of some kind. There are problems somewhere in the network between your computer and the Linden Lab servers. Symptoms of a poor connection can include, but are not limited to, failure of your avatar or textures to res, object information not displaying in hover tips when you mouse over them, teleport failures, random crashes, forced logout. Now, packet loss can indicate poor network performance. You can see cumulative packet loss in your sysinfo. If you go to the Help menu and About Firestorm, it's going to be the bottom line on the Info tab. This shows packet loss and total packets since you logged in. Generally, if this is over 1% after you've been logged in for a long time, there may be some network issue. You can see real-time or instant packet loss in the statistics bar, Control-Shift-1. There might be times when real-time packet loss occurs, but only for a very short period. They don't necessarily indicate a problem. But if you see continuously high real-time packet loss, there may be some network issue. You also want to check ping sim in the statistics bar. Ideally, this should be under 200 milliseconds, and anything over 400 milliseconds is what Linden Lab considers too high. This is also known as latency. You're experiencing wildly high ping times. We're talking thousands, tens of thousands of milliseconds. Ask others nearby if they are as well. If no one is nearby, ask a friend or ask folks from the group to come by. If you all see high ping times, it's a server issue and the region should be restarted. You can mitigate some network lag by playing with your bandwidth. Too high can cause increased packet loss. Too low can increase chances for timeouts. For more information on how to determine your optimal bandwidth, check out our wiki and run the speed test. Now, we generally recommend the following as maximums. So, recommended, not mandatory. Wireless, 500. Now, this includes any kind of network service that includes a wireless link of some kind. Wi-Fi, WiMAX, satellite, cell phone, hotspot. If there's a wireless section of the network between you and the internet, it's wireless. Hardwired DSL, we recommend 1000. Anything faster, hardwired, like cable, fiber, etc., 1500. We've kind of found that anything over 1900 doesn't work too well, and the servers are they run a network that doesn't go very fast anyway, and about 1500 is a workable limit for SL. Now, lowering these by a small amount, say 25% or so, can help improve the use of voice and media in some cases. I'm on DSL, IC, and when I want to use voice, I have to drop that number from 1000 to 750 so I can give room to, for my bandwidth, so I can give voice some room to play with on my network. Now, aside from the network issues that I mentioned, some programs may inhibit or interfere with a good connection. Some firewall software and antivirus programs are known to do this. You may want to temporarily disable them just to see if the situation improves. And if it does, then you know where you can affect changes in your firewall or antivirus. Some modems and routers can cause some network issues, so reboot those. At least that might help. Turning your modem off for several minutes can help as well, because it makes your internet provider think you're offline and it'll reset their side of your connection. Next is client-side lag. Everything you see in world has to be drawn by your graphics card. When there is too much to draw and your computer can't keep up, you will experience client-side lag. Avatar render wait, which used to be known as ARC or avatar rendering cost, is a part of client-side lag, as the name itself says. Symptoms of client-side lag include jerky or sluggish movement, difficulty typing. Maybe things you can do to reduce this without having to ask people to adapt to you. Generally speaking, the better you make SL look, the more client-side lag you will have. So you could reduce your draw distance. You really don't need to see 512 meters away inside a 15 by 15 room. One thing that most people don't realize is that if you double your draw distance, you will actually render up to 8 times as much area. Think of your draw distance as the radius of a sphere. And you can also be sure that Avatar Imposters is enabled. We talked about this earlier on. It makes the drawing of distant avatars much faster because they're drawn with reduced quality. So reduce the number of max avatars. Both of these two options are in the Preferences, Graphics, General subtab. Disable atmospheric shaders, which serves to drastically reduce how much your computer has to render, because the sky alone is very graphics intensive. If need be, inhibit the rendering of other avatars. You can go to the Advanced menu, Rendering Types, Avatars. Just remember to turn it back on afterwards. Or you can de-render them. Client-side lag is something local to you. It's a direct result of how powerful your computer is. It is no one else's fault but if your computer cannot handle a specific situation. So if you're in a high lag setting, adapt temporarily as I described. It will also be pointed out that client-side lag neither affects nor is affected by things like scripts at all. It has next to zero impact on a SIM's performance. Particles, contrary to popular belief, particles do not cause lag on a SIM. Their effect on the SIM, on the servers, is in fact close to zero. The only effect is the script that's used to generate them. Particles are almost entirely client-side. They're rendered on your computer by your graphics card and in fact do not require a script to keep them going. Probably kind of the same. The script, the viewer renders the flex. Now, particles do need a script to initiate the effect, but afterwards the script may be removed. The particles will still keep going until another script is dropped in to turn them off, or the object is taken or deleted. So there you go. North says it's the same. If you find that particles are lagging you, stop it yourself on your own computer. That way others who are less affected may continue to enjoy them. Script count will affect a SIM, but we're not talking about server lag. We're talking about client side right now. Scripts don't affect clients directly. Now you can disable particles in a number of ways. You can go to the advanced menu under rendering types and toggle particles on or off. You can go to preferences, graphics, general subtab and set max particle count to 0. Or, anybody know? Only been 15, 20 minutes since I mentioned it. It's in Quick Preferences. Yep. It's one of the default sliders up near the top. Particles. Now server-side. Let's talk about server-side. Server-side lag is caused by several things independently. There are 2 major causes. All others are secondary and negligible. They are, in order of impact on a SIM, physics. People, even wearing nothing at all with the minimum possible avatar render weight of 1,000 and 0 scripts, will still lag a SIM. SIM needs to keep track of where each avatar is to prevent them walking through one another, floors, walls, etc. Every time your avatar moves, it collides with something other than when you are flying or sitting, and each collision gets calculated on the server, and this creates lag. Flossie is creating lag right now, and now she is not. She's the cause of our problems. Sitting down reduces this lag significantly because your avatar becomes linked to the prim you're sitting on. No more calculating collisions because you're not colliding. And scripts. Now this is common knowledge compared to the previous point. If you know you're going to a busy event, then remove scripted attachments, as many as possible. Now there's no good reason that the note card thinks to be carrying around more than 200 scripts on a human avatar, even when in full RP attire with combat HUDs. It's important to note that the number of scripts does not tell the whole story. The amount of time a script uses is more important. Contrary to popular belief, prims do not lag a SIM. More precisely, their effect on lag is minuscule compared to physics and scripts. Scripted prims do cause lag. Unscripted ones do not, relatively speaking. An object being moved by a script causes lag. It also causes bandwidth usage. So if you're going to an event, before you leave for it, check your attachments like hair, shoes, etc. HUDs that you don't need. Sexy bits that you're not going to use there. Make sure they're either unscripted or removed. Bling is particles, and it's only a troublemaker for those who have troubles rendering the particles. You have shoes that have a resizer script, and I know some of them you cannot remove the resizer script. Thank you, creators. The script itself doesn't cause a bunch of lag until you use it. But it does add to the number of scripts that are running in the region. Now, to those running events, it's strongly suggested that you ask attendees to do these things, removing scripts, and you can take off your head. because a badly lagged sim will affect everyone at the event, and it's no fun to be at a laggy event. Note, as stated earlier, lag caused by physics, or primarily avatar movement, is the #1 cause of region lag. If physics lag is bad enough, scripts will simply stop running because avatar movement is considered more important than scripts. Some HUDs are monsters. Some HUDs can cause client-side lag. Now, if there are 40 people at an event and many are moving about, it will be laggy, even if none of these people are wearing scripts, because there's 40 collisions per physics frame. So 45 times a second, 40 people and their collisions have to be calculated. Moving away from a scripted prim will not do anything to reduce the lag that the script may be causing, because scripts run on the region server, and so they are global to the server. The effect they have on objects, for example, can be mitigated if you move away, because you won't see those changes. And no matter where you are in the region, the effect of the script running, that is the time taken to run it and the memory it consumes, will be felt on the entire region. Now, it must be stated that this material is a simplification. The true situation is far more complex, but the intent here was to be brief, simple, yet sufficiently correct. The information is also available on our wiki page on lag, right there. There's more detailed explanations on here's some pages that have more detail about lag. Hope everybody wrote all of those down with your virtual pencils. Any questions on lag? And yes, we will wait for them to be written. Pencils taste awful. Any questions on anything I've talked about today? Awesome. Well, before I let you go, I want to thank you all personally for taking time out of your day to listen to me rag on about quick preferences and lag. I hope everybody enjoys the ice cream cone. I don't think I gave one to Chansey, but I will. And on behalf of the entire team, for using our viewer, because you, the users, are the reason that our viewer is as popular and as feature-packed as it is. So thank you, and thank you. And I'm glad you learned something, Laura. That's cool. You're very welcome. And there you go, Chansey. Theme of the day is double scoops.